The text I sent took me 3 hours and half a bottle of cheap wine to write. Delete, rewrite, delete again, sip wine, rewrite. Finally settled on something casual, like my hands weren't shaking, like I hadn't spent months thinking about it. Hey, I've been doing some thinking. We haven't had a cordial conversation in months. Could we talk after work? I'd like to apologize. He didn't respond. Not even those 3 dots that show someone's typing. Nothing. I called that evening. Straight to voicemail. Called again an hour later. Same thing. By the 3rd call, I realized what was happening. He was ignoring me. Gregory, who used to text me 50 times a day asking what I wanted for dinner, was pretending I didn't exist. I tried from my sister's phone. He answered on the 2nd ring. Walsh Plumbing, this is Greg. I hung up immediately, my hands shaking. So his phone worked fine. He just had me blocked. After 5 years of marriage, I'd been reduced to a blocked number, like some crazy ex-girlfriend, like I meant nothing. The worst part? I'd checked his social media from a fake account I made. He looked happy. Really happy. There were photos from a company Christmas party, him laughing with his employees, wearing the red tie Emma must have picked out because he hated red. No wedding ring. When had he stopped wearing it? There was a comment from someone named Amy. Great party! Thanks for including me, with a heart emoji. Who the hell was Amy? It's been 2 weeks since Christmas, and I'm still staring at that delivered notification under my message. Not read, just delivered. Like I'm some stranger he can dismiss. Like 5 years of marriage meant nothing. Like his daughter calling me mom for half her life was just something that could be erased. But I'm the one who left. I know that. I'm the one who walked out that September morning telling him I needed space, that things weren't working, that we'd grown apart. I'm the one who was at Troy's apartment that same night, finally feeling alive after years of feeling like I was suffocating in suburban Memphis. Troy was everything Gregory wasn't. Exciting, spontaneous. He worked in my department at the marketing firm, always had these crazy stories about his weekends, always smelled like expensive cologne instead of motor oil and daughter's fruit snacks. When he looked at me, I didn't feel like somebody's boring wife. I felt like Jessica again. Young, desirable Jessica, not Mrs. Gregory Walsh, stepmother and household manager. The affair had been going on for 6 months before I left. Every work conference, every late night at the office, every team-building event was an opportunity. Gregory never suspected. Too trusting, too focused on his daughter Emma and his plumbing business to notice his wife was falling for someone else. I became an expert at deception. Thursday nights were book club with the girls. I'd leave the house with a paperback I'd never read, wearing the yoga pants and oversized sweater Gregory expected, then change in my car into the dress Troy liked, the red one that showed everything. I'd spritz on the perfume I kept hidden in my glove compartment, not the vanilla body spray Gregory bought me every Christmas, but something musky and expensive that Troy said drove him crazy. The lies came so easily. Sorry, honey, book club ran late. Sarah wouldn't stop talking about her divorce. I'd even throw in a believable detail like, she's thinking about getting a lawyer. Meanwhile, I'd been in Troy's bed doing things I'd never done with Gregory. Things I'd told Gregory I wasn't into when we first got married. You're different with me, Troy would say afterward, tracing patterns on my bare shoulder. More alive. He doesn't deserve you. And I believed him, every word. Because when I was with Troy, I wasn't the woman who packed school lunches and attended PTA meetings. I wasn't the one who spent Saturday mornings at Emma's soccer games, pretending to care about 9-year-olds kicking a ball around. I was sexy, desired, free. The close calls made it more exciting. Like the time Gregory called while Troy and I were at a hotel during a work conference. Hey babe, just checking in. How's the conference? Troy's hand was sliding up my thigh under the table at the hotel bar. I had to control my breathing. It's good. Boring. You know how these things are? Emma wanted me to tell you she got an A on her spelling test. That's great, I managed, while Troy's fingers found exactly where they were going. She really wanted to tell you herself. Should I have her call you later? No, I said too quickly. I mean, I'll be in sessions until late. I'll see her tomorrow. Okay, love you, Jess. Love you too, I lied, ending the call as Troy laughed against my neck. You're so bad, he whispered. I love it. I'm not happy, I told him that September morning. Emma was at her biological mother's for the weekend, thank God. I couldn't have done it with her there. What do you mean? Gregory asked, still in his pajamas, coffee mug frozen halfway to his mouth. The stupid mug Emma had made him in art class, world's best dad in purple glitter. I mean, I'm done. This isn't working. Jess, what are you talking about? What happened? Nothing happened. Everything happened. I can't do this anymore. Is this about last week? I told you I'm sorry I missed dinner. The Hendersons' pipe burst, and it's not about dinner, Greg. Though honestly, it kind of was. Another anniversary spent eating reheated Chinese food alone while he fixed someone else's emergency. Troy would never do that to me. Troy made reservations at places that required reservations. Then what? Talk to me, we can fix this. There's nothing to fix. I just don't love you anymore. The words hit him like a physical blow. He actually stepped backward, coffee sloshing over the rim of his mug onto the floor. The floor I'd begged him to replace for 2 years. Still the same ugly linoleum his grandmother had picked out. You don't, Jess, we have a family. Emma, quote, Emma's not my daughter. She calls you Mom. That was your idea, not mine. Another lie. I'd been the one to suggest it when Emma was 5, after her biological mother missed another birthday. I'd held that little girl while she cried, promised her I'd never leave. But that Jessica was gone. Troy's Jessica didn't make promises to children who weren't hers. The look on his face. Like I'd shot him. But I had to be strong. Troy was waiting. A new life was waiting. Gregory tried to fight for us. Called, texted, showed up at my sister's where I was staying. Offered counseling, therapy, anything. Think about Emma, he said. She needs you. But I wasn't thinking about Emma. I was thinking about Troy's hands on my body, about the apartment we were going to get together, about the trips we'd take, about finally living the life I deserved at 32 instead of playing house with someone else's kid. The divorce papers were filed by October. Gregory stopped trying to contact me after I told him about Troy. The look in his eyes when I admitted it. Not hurt anymore, just disgusted. Like I was something he'd stepped in. Emma was the hardest part. 9 years old, smart as a whip, had been calling me Mom since she was 5. Gregory got full custody, of course. Her biological mother only had her every other weekend. I was the one who did homework with her, braided her hair, knew she was scared of thunderstorms. But I walked away from that, too. The last time I saw her before I left was a Thursday. Gregory always worked late on Thursdays, so I picked her up from school. She was chattering about some boy in her class who put gum in another girl's hair, clutching the art project she'd made. A ceramic bowl painted in what she called rainbow swirls. It's for you, Mommy Jess, she said, presenting it like a crown jewel. For your jewelry. I took it, knowing I was leaving in 3 days. Knowing I'd never use it. Knowing she'd spent weeks making it in art class, carefully painting each swirl. It's beautiful, baby. Mrs. Peterson says I have an artistic soul, she announced proudly. Do you think I have an artistic soul? The most artistic, I lied, helping her with her seatbelt. That night, while Gregory gave her a bath, I packed the bowl in the box of things I'd take with me. Then I unpacked it. What was I going to do with a child's art project in my new life? I didn't even have space for guilt, let alone glittered clay. I left it on my dresser, another piece of the life I was abandoning. I heard later that she cried for weeks. Denise told me, during one of her many attempts to guilt me into coming back. Emma wouldn't eat, wouldn't sleep, kept asking when Mommy Jess was coming home. She'd sit by the window after school, waiting for my car. Gregory had to take her to a therapist. A 9-year-old in therapy because I chose Troy's excitement over her stability. Where's Mommy Jess? I heard she kept asking. Gregory told her I had to go away for grown-up reasons, didn't poison her against me, which I guess was decent of him, more decent than I deserved. The truth was simpler and uglier. Mommy Jess left because being a mother was boring, because bedtime stories and homework help and soccer games weren't as thrilling as hotel rooms and secret texts, and the way Troy made me feel like I was 22 again instead of 32 with responsibilities. Troy and I got our apartment in November. Downtown loft, exposed brick. The kind of place I'd dreamed about when I was stuck in Gregory's 3-bedroom ranch with the mortgage and the HOA fees. This was what I wanted. Freedom, excitement, passion. For about 3 weeks. Turns out Troy's exciting lifestyle was expensive. Turns out his crazy weekend stories usually involved other women. Turns out the cologne I loved was to cover the smell of whoever he'd been with the night before. "Baby, don't be so possessive," he said when I found messages on his phone. "We're having fun, right? Don't ruin it with jealousy." But it was different now. When he was pursuing a married woman, I was a challenge, a prize. Now that I was available, living with him, asking where he was at 2 a.m., I was just another clingy girlfriend. The thrill was gone. The first time I smelled another woman's perfume on his shirt, I almost laughed. It was the same cheap vanilla body spray Gregory used to buy me, the kind I'd always hated. Now it just smelled like my own stupidity. By December, he was staying out all night, not even trying to hide it anymore. I'd sit in that expensive apartment, surrounded by the furniture I'd bought with my half of the savings account, and wonder what Gregory and Emma were doing. Were they decorating the Christmas tree? Did Emma still insist on putting the angel on top even though she needed Gregory to lift her? Troy left on December 23rd. Just packed his stuff while I was at work and texted me that it wasn't working out. That he needed someone more chill, less domestic. That maybe I should have stayed married if I wanted to play house. I spent Christmas Eve alone. Christmas Day alone. Ordered Chinese food and drank a bottle of wine while scrolling through Gregory's social media, which he'd blocked me from months ago. But his sister Denise hadn't blocked me. Her page was full of photos. Gregory and Emma at Christmas morning. Emma in the pajamas I would have picked out for her, grinning with missing teeth. Gregory looking good. Really good. Had he been working out? He looked better than when he was with me. He looked free. There was another woman in some of the photos. Pretty brunette about my age, helping Emma with her new bike. Laughing at something Gregory said. Her hand on his shoulder in one picture. Comfortable, natural, like she belonged there. That's when I texted him. Watching another woman in my spot, in my house with my family. The apology was genuine, even if the reasons weren't. I was sorry. Sorry I'd thrown away a good man for Troy's empty promises. Sorry I'd abandoned Emma for excitement that turned out to be nothing but smoke. Sorry I'd been too stupid to see what I had until it was gone. But Gregory didn't answer. Didn't call back. Nothing. I drove by the house on New Year's Eve, just to see. The lights were on, cars in the driveway. Gregory's truck, the brunette's Honda, Denise's SUV. A family gathering I should have been part of. I sat there for 20 minutes, working up the courage to knock, to apologize in person, to beg if I had to. Then Emma came to the window, saw my car. For a second, our eyes met. Then she closed the curtains. A 9-year-old child had more strength than her father. She could look me in the eye and shut me out. The stepdaughter I'd raised for 5 years, who used to crawl into our bed during thunderstorms, who I taught to ride a bike and braid friendship bracelets, looked at me like I was nothing, because to her I was. I drove home and found an email from Gregory's lawyer. All communication was to go through legal channels. Do not contact the client directly. Do not come to the residence. Do not attempt contact with the minor child. The minor child, Emma, who used to call me Mommy Jess. I tried one more time. January 2nd. New year, fresh start, all that. Called from my work phone in case he'd blocked my number. He answered on the 3rd ring. "Walsh Plumbing, this is Greg." "Gregory, it's me. Please don't hang up." Silence. Then, All communication goes through my lawyer, Jessica. You know that. Please, just 5 minutes. I messed up, I know that. But we were together for 5 years. Doesn't that count for something? It counted for everything. To me. Apparently it meant nothing to you. That's not true. You left me and Emma for some guy at work. Didn't even try to work on us, just walked out. So no, Jessica, we can't talk. There's nothing to say. What about Emma? Can I at least... Emma's fine. She's happy. She doesn't ask about you anymore. That hurt more than anything. She doesn't? No, kids are resilient. They move on, like I have. Is it that woman? The brunette? A pause. That's none of your business anymore. Goodbye, Jessica. He hung up. When I called back, it went straight to voicemail. He'd blocked me. I see them sometimes around Memphis. At Target, the grocery store, the park, always from a distance. Emma's getting taller. Gregory looks happier than he did with me, if I'm being honest. The brunette is there sometimes. I heard from mutual friends her name is Amy. She's a teacher. Never been married. Loves kids. Perfect. Everything I wasn't. Troy's dating someone new. 25-year-old bartender with a nose ring. Saw them at a restaurant last week. Him feeding her the same lines he fed me about being trapped, needing excitement, deserving more from life. She looked at him like he was God's gift. I remember that look. I invented that look. I watched from the bar, nursing my third martini. He was sitting in our booth, the one where he first told me he was falling for me. His hand was on her thigh, thumb making the same circles that used to drive me crazy. When she excused herself to the bathroom, I made my move. Found a new project? I asked, sliding into her seat. Troy barely looked up from his phone. Jess, what do you want? Just wondering if you told her about your other girlfriends yet. Or does she think she's special too? Don't be bitter. It's not attractive. I gave up everything for you. Now he looked at me, really looked at me, and smiled, that same smile that used to make me melt. No, baby. You gave up everything for yourself. I just happened to be there. The bartender was coming back, young, perky, everything I used to be. Everything I'd never be again. Does she know you're still technically living with your ex? I tried one last shot. Actually, I moved in with her last week. He stood up as she approached. Take care, Jess. I wanted to warn her. Tell her he'll get bored once the conquest is over. That exciting men rarely make good partners. That the Gregory types, the boring, reliable, devoted ones, those are the ones you keep. But she wouldn't listen. Women like us never do. Not until we're 32 and alone in a downtown apartment we can barely afford, texting apologies to men who've already replaced us. Gregory was right not to answer. I see that now. You can't apologize your way back from some betrayals. You can't undo abandoning a child who trusted you. You can't unexplode a bomb after it's destroyed everything. But I still check my phone, still hope for those 3 dots, still drive by sometimes, wondering if that could have been my life if I hadn't been so stupid. If I'd realized that boring was just another word for stable, that predictable meant dependable, that a man who comes home every night is worth a dozen who make your heart race. The custody exchange happens at the police station now. After the restraining order, that's the only place Gregory will meet me when I have my supervised visits with Emma. Once a month, 2 hours, with a court-appointed supervisor taking notes on every interaction. Last month, I bought her a new American Girl doll. The one she'd begged for last Christmas. The one I'd told Gregory was too expensive. $89 seemed like so much then. Now I'd pay 10 times that just to see her face light up the way it used to when I'd pick her up from school. She took the doll politely, said thank you, then handed it to Gregory when the visit ended. She doesn't play with dolls anymore, he told the supervisor. Not me. Never me. She's into soccer now. And coding. Amy's been teaching her Python. Amy, teaching my daughter to code. Amy, who probably never complains about Saturday morning games or beginner programming workshops. Amy, who understands that being present is more important than being exciting. The supervisor made a note. Another mark against me. Another piece of evidence that I don't even know my own daughter anymore. "Can I come to one of her games?" I asked, knowing the answer. "That would violate the order," the supervisor reminded me. As if I could forget. As if the exact distance, 500 feet, wasn't burned into my brain. "Right," I said. "Of course." Emma looked at me then. Really looked at me. And I saw something worse than anger in her eyes. I saw indifference. The same look Gregory gave me at the soccer field. The look that says you're not worth the energy of hatred anymore. I threw away a family for a feeling. Traded a husband for butterflies. Gave up a daughter for an orgasm. And now I text apologies to a man who's learned I'm not worth answering. The last time I saw them, it was at Emma's soccer game. I wasn't stalking, just happened to be at the park. She scored a goal and ran straight to the sidelines, not to Gregory, to Amy. Jumped into her arms, face glowing with joy. "Did you see, Mom? Did you see?" Mom. She called another woman Mom. She shouted it, so loud I could hear it from the parking lot, like she wanted me to hear it. I'd parked far enough away to not violate the order, but close enough to watch through binoculars I'd bought specifically for this purpose. Pathetic? Yes, but it was all I had left. Stolen glimpses of the life I abandoned. Amy had brought orange slices. Of course she had. Perfect Amy with her sensible ponytail and her elementary teacher patience. She probably never forgot team snack duty, never showed up late with store-bought cookies because she'd been too busy texting her lover to remember it was her turn. The other parents chatted with her like she'd always been there, like she belonged. Nobody mentioned me. It was as if Jessica Walsh had never existed. As if I hadn't spent 3 years on those same sidelines, pretending to care about offside rules and hydration schedules. "Great save in the first half," one dad said to Gregory. "Emma's really improved since last season." "Amy's been practicing with her," Gregory replied, his hand naturally finding Amy's waist. "She played in college." College soccer. Of course. Another thing perfect Amy could give Emma that I couldn't. I'd never played sports. Too busy being pretty, being desired, being chosen by boys like Troy who promised excitement and delivered emptiness. My phone buzzed. My landlord. Third notice. I let it go to voicemail, kept watching my family, former families, pack up their perfect Saturday morning. Emma's cleats were new. Pink and silver, the expensive kind I'd always said were a waste for a kid who'd outgrow them in 6 months. Amy probably bought them. Amy, who understood that sometimes love means wasting money on things that matter to a 9-year-old. Gregory noticed me then. Our eyes met across the field. No anger in his face anymore. No hurt. Just nothing. Like I was a stranger. Someone he used to know. He put his arm around Amy, kissed Emma's head, and turned back to the game. A family unit, complete without me. I left before the game ended. Went home to my empty apartment with its exposed brick and modern fixtures and all the things I thought I wanted. The rent was due in 3 days. $1,800 I didn't have because Troy had stuck me with his half when he left. The eviction notice would come soon, another downgrade waiting. I sent another text I knew he wouldn't answer. "I'm sorry." For everything, delivered, never read. I've started seeing a therapist. Not because I believe I can get better, just because it's court-ordered after I was caught sitting outside Emma's school. I wasn't going to take her or talk to her. I just wanted to see her, make sure she was okay. The restraining order says I can't come within 500 feet now. "Why did you leave your family?" Dr. Harrison asks every week. I give different answers. I was unhappy. I felt trapped. I deserved more. But the truth is uglier and simpler. I left because I could. Because Troy wanted me. And that felt better than being wanted by Gregory. Because new sex is always more exciting than married sex. Because I thought I was special enough to have my cake and eat it too. "Do you want your family back?" she asks. "Yes," I say. But that's not really true either. I want the security back, the house, the dual income, the someone to come home to. I want Gregory back, but only if he could be more like Troy. Exciting, unpredictable, new. But men aren't Build-A-Bears. You can't take the stability of one and the excitement of another and create your perfect partner. You choose. And I chose wrong. My mother called last week. First time in months. "Jessica, what were you thinking?" "No hello, no how are you?" Just straight to the disappointment. "I wasn't happy, Mom." Happy? You think your father and I were happy every day for 40 years? You think happiness is the point? You had a good man, a child who loved you, a home. And you threw it away for what? Some fling? You don't understand. I understand plenty. I understand you're 32 years old, alone, and begging a man you betrayed to take you back, while he's moved on with someone who appreciates what you couldn't. She hung up before I could respond. Even my own mother thinks I'm pathetic. And worst of all, she's right. Some mistakes you pay for forever. Some choices, closed doors that never open again. Some texts stay delivered but never answered. Reminders of the life you threw away for the one that threw you away. But I keep texting, keep calling, keep driving by, because admitting it's really over means admitting I destroyed everything good for nothing at all, and I'm not ready for that truth. I just checked my phone, still delivered. Maybe I never will be.